Okay, YouTube, the time has finally come. Came all over. Look what we have here. It's finished. It doesn't look finished, but it's finished. The Apex engineered front and rear subframes are essentially done. They don't look like it, but it's relatively good to go. She needs a little bit more work, but we finally reached a point where I can actually talk about it. And boy, oh boy, I don't even know where to start. There's a lot to talk about. But I'm repping right now. Insert the B-roll of the installed kit. It's been a long time since we uploaded any sort of video, let alone Z content. There's not really a good excuse for videos in general, but there's a pretty decent excuse for this car, which I did not anticipate it taking as long as it did to install both front and rear kits. I don't know if we want to cut to me unboxing it and being all impressed and whatnot.
We got her unboxed. I am cheesed.
On the surface, at first, I thought we were good to go and that it would bolt up and wouldn't run into any problems, but as a young lad, I was wrong. There were problems. I do want to make this video just kind of showcasing both kits installed and what I went through, and kind of, this is going to be a pretty critical review of both systems. They sell like, you can buy individual components, like just the control arms here for the front, I think you can buy, and then like this up here is like their power brace. There's a bar running across. You'll see it in the B-roll. But as a whole, I just wanted to cover everything. I went all the way. I bought everything that I could at the time. We'll start here first. Apex engineered. I stopped to drop off the front spindles, and they were nice enough to give me a tour of the place. Shout out Ohm and the crew. But yeah, he was a cool dude. He hooked me up with the shirt, and they were working on, they hadn't released it yet, but they were working on their E36 stuff, which was really cool to see, like them going through the process. And the shop that they have, like they work out of, is actually, it's a lot smaller than I expected. Like it's got to be like 4 times the size of the shop I got here. Like it's not big, which for the amount of stuff they're able to produce there was pretty impressive. Either way, this is going to be pretty critical. I'm going to, like, just as a message to them, I'm sure they're going to watch this video. I love what you guys do, and I want to see, like, more progress, more stuff come out, like, changes, revisions, and just, like, everything you do is awesome. Like, the Z community specifically, there was no rear subframe that could bolt up where you could get camber adjust, like, actually get any adjustment out of the rear subframe. There was only forums with DIY fixes and cutting arms and welding up stuff. It was a mess. Since you've released the rear subframe, it's been like a godsend to the community. So very appreciative of that. So if anything, I want you to take these criticisms or what I'm going to go through this video as just stuff to improve on, because I don't regret going through this process. It was frustrating, I'm not going to lie. It was very frustrating, but like coming out of it now, I'm excited to see what you guys can do in the future. With that, let's get started. We're going to start with the front first. All the issues, what I found, what I like, and then we'll go to the rear. I did buy the transmission crossmember as well, so we'll touch on that too. Some preliminary stuff first. Item number 1. When I ordered the front kit, the lower control arms here, obviously you have the ball joint. They sent me the incorrect ball joint size. I don't know if it was for like the 240Z or S30, whatever arms they have, because they have the other Zs you can buy and they have kits for that. I went to bolt the knuckle up here and this thing was just like a complete slip fit. I know I took a photo or two, insert the photos, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I was able to contact them, figured it out, sent them in. Oh yeah, they're the wrong size. We'll get you the new one. So minute thing, but this was like my first like whoa of the entire project. Was like I was running into some QC stuff that I did not want to be running into. That was item number 1. Item number 2, not QC related, but for the hardware, I've seen it on like their Instagram or Facebook or whatever. They have like a vacuum former, like they kit out the hardware and then like a little thing seals and sucks it up. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Unboxing that, for the most part, like 80% of it, not a big deal. For the other 20%, when you're trying to get those washers apart and whatnot, like that adhesive, I don't know, whatever material that is adhesive material is sticking, so they kit it up. It sticks to the hardware, and it is difficult to get that stuff off. So that's like a minute thing, but it's like, that was a pain dealing with when I want just a clean washer to throw on. Like, no, I gotta scrape at this stuff to peel it off. I ran into that a lot when I was assembling this thing. Next thing. Backing off to more of the design of the kit, I have a big problem. I work as an engineer. I've been working as an engineer for a couple years now. There is, at least where I work, a big no-no in hardware interchangeability, I guess. Like if you have metric hardware or standard hardware, you want to stick to one and not be interchanging both. Like if you want a machine, you want it either a metric machine or you want a standard machine. Obviously, you know the deal. You know the deal. I got a prime example of what's going down with this right now. Let's go back here. Let's take a little while. This is like the most prime example I can have. This rear dust shield, these bolts to hold it in place, because it's their control arm, these are 1/4 and the Z obviously is a Japanese metric vehicle. Turn around real quick, come over to the front. I didn't put it on yet, but these guys for the front dust shield are M6. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. All of their hardware, to my knowledge, is standard hardware on a metric vehicle. Why? Why? My best guess is, I don't have an answer for it, but my best guess is that because it's a custom kit, if you misplace hardware or something and you need to get some off the shelf, like you can just go to a hardware store and get standard hardware. But they can do what they want. But I would like to see metric hardware, metric kit on a metric vehicle. If it was a domestic vehicle, use standard hardware all day. But keep it coherent, because now I gotta make sure I'm using the right thing. If I take anything off or work on anything, as an engineer, I'd be getting yelled at if I did something like that at where I work. That's a thumbs down for that one. This one, got the Big John right here.
What is that?
A mil.
Is that for your stoma?
This is my stoma meter. I thought at first that their powder coating process was a little under par. I'm gonna take back what I thought and was pleasantly surprised with my stoma meter. For my stoma. 7 mils. I thought the powder coating was thinner, but it is not. Shout out Apex for that. They powder coat in-house. You go on their Facebook, on their Instagram, they're gonna have like some little montage of like them, doing the deed. She's actually pretty good. But that leads us into our next issue, which is by far the biggest problem that I had on this entire project. This is the QC issue, which I believe they've resolved now actually. So preliminary note before I'm getting into this. This shop where I work on this thing is an hour away from my abode. After unboxing the kit, I got it all ready, brought it up, set up tables, whatnot to start the installation. Took everything off. I don't know how many people have watched the disassembly video, but I had everything laid out and was just ready to go to just do everything at once. I started with the front, maybe 10 minutes in to try and install the front parts. I tried to put a bolt in a hole like this. Just like that. The bolts were not going in the holes they were supposed to. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Am I tripping sack right now? Am I tripping nutsack on my dick right now? 90% of the entire kit, none of the hardware that was supposed to go where it was supposed to go would fit. Any hole, pick any hole on any component for both either the front or the rear. I try to install anything. I was running into issues of, I couldn't even, just kind of force it in. All right. There was just way too much coating for the clearance holes, and I had to drive an hour home, bring everything home, and one by one, every hole for the entire kit, I had to Dremel out and then repaint. You were there for a little bit of it. It took forever to do, and I've never been so mad about buying car parts. It was rough to say the least. But they do have, I've seen it. I don't want to fully talk for them, but they do have a QC process now. They have like like keys with all the different hole sizes, and they check before they ship out. But I'm still frustrated because, to my knowledge, I was roughly one of the first people to buy both the front and rear kits when they came out. Like I was early to the party, and you'd think that for a first kit going out or first batch of kits or maybe even the second, who knows, that their QC would be on point and that this is a brand new product. We're gonna ensure that this thing is tip top shape, and I couldn't install any of it on the get go. Like it was terrible. To finish the rant, I was at the point where I just wanted to like partially just throw in the towel and be like, okay, can I get some like compensation for this? Because this is ridiculous. Like I buy this kit to bolt up to install and it's like not ready to go. And we did have the video and I did plug their kit. Shout out the Z Buyer's Guide. If you haven't checked it out, go watch that. At the end of the video, shout out the Apex kit, specifically the rear, but the front is just as good now that I've installed it. Either way, Jesus Christ, dude, that was bad. For those buying the kit nowadays, you should be good to go. You shouldn't have to worry about it. I just wanted to note that though, that I had to go through that.
Womp womp.
Not specifically hole clearances or the coating or whatnot. I didn't notice this when I received the kit. This was on top of me wanting to throw in the towel. Like this is the other half of the story, is that as I started to assemble everything, I got up close and personal with the kit. I started to notice just small discrepancies, QC stuff that I did not like spatter in areas it shouldn't be, and I don't know, different marks. I've got a couple photos of it. We'll throw them in. I do have an example to show here. It's not a big one, but I kept it. I fixed all the other stuff I went through. You can option dust boots for, I don't know, tie rod, control arm, etc. It's on the backside here. I don't know if I have a photo of it, so we might just insert that. If you option the boot, there was spatter to where, like, it was just enough to where the boot would ride on the spatter, and it would obviously tear the boot up after enough time. And it was like, well, this is a semi-crucial area. I don't want to have just a spatter eventually tear the boot and shit get in there, and you know what I mean?
Like a functional surface, you want to make sure that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anything that's going to be, that actually matters, you especially don't want any extra shit on that.
Exactly. And that's what, this example specifically, there was a couple I ran into. I don't want to go through that. Like I'm buying, why am I dealing with that? You know what I mean? That's the last of the QC stuff. Now we can actually get on to the front. I don't have too much to talk about after I dealt with all the hole clearance issues for the front specifically. There's more to talk about on the rear. But what I do have is, first things first,
Oh.
see this? You see that? You see that right there?
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, everybody will be in a different situation. But if you do have an original car, for the power steering lines here, there are a couple brackets that hold the lines in place, or like the flex lines in place. And there is absolutely zero mounting across the cross member. Bruh. That's no bueno. Having some kind of mounting for these would be appreciated for those that do have original cars. It's not a big deal, minor thing, but it's something I did want to address. Next thing. Can you actually see the leak? It's over here somewhere.
I see moisture.
A little drippy.
Yeah.
Upon installing the front cross member, I was as delicate as I could be with supporting the steering rack and preventing it from leaking. But for those that are buying the front kit, I would just rebuild the rack while you're at it, because there's a very low chance you're going to prevent it from leaking. I did everything I could, and it still ended up leaking, and now I got to take this off and have the rack rebuilt just to address the leak. So that was fun. Then, as for the front kit, this is the biggest pet peeve I have. I was very impressed with the front kit as a whole, design-wise, besides this. This is the power brace right here. This is an upgrade you can go through with them. This is obviously not original. But this bracket here for the tension rod, for their S30s and whatnot, to my knowledge, how this, specifically this area in the front, I don't know if I point here, it's better, how it comes down at this angle.
Okay.
That, to my knowledge, on the other cars is not like that. It's just completely cut out, which allows the alignment of this tension rod bracket here to be level with the ground. Like you can see the bolt head is tucked in there and interfering. If you're able to see on this side, you cannot go any further with the angle of this because you're gonna run into the bracket here. On their model, I'm gonna throw in a photo. On their model, on their website for their product page, this thing is level and this bolt is literally interfering. It's going through this bracket. That's no bueno. And on the other cars, it's able to get level on their installation video for the S30. I'm a Z31 stand, so I don't know what the actual chassis code is for the other one. But on the other cars, they specifically say, yeah, you want this thing mounted level with the ground so you can get proper motion of this Heim joint here, which you can get pretty damn close with this, but I'd like to see some kind of revision to prevent this from happening in the future, because if this does turn at all, you're interfering with this bracket. And obviously on the product page, it's intended to be level, and you have a blatant interference. So for the future, I'm not that pressed about it. She's still installed good. So, okay, last thing. This is not Apex related. This is separate. I was able to actually secure it. These are conveniently the same color, but MSA Motorsport Auto, the Z store, their sway bars. These are the only sway bars you can buy for the Z31 that are like aftermarket right now. And boy, oh boy, do I have a fucking story to go through for that. These sway bars are literally a year in the making. I ordered them a year ago. I got them in maybe a month ago. I was basically at the point, like, I ordered them. Oh, we were on back order, whatnot. I went through all the motions. I emailed, like, oh, are you going to get an update on this? Like, what's going on? And they told me that their manufacturer, like, they dropped their manufacturer. They weren't producing the sway bars anymore. So they had to search for a new manufacturer, and I stuck with them all the way. Just because there are no other sway bar options. I wanted upgraded sway bars for these. I was like at the very end of my line. I remember emailing them, and like the day I emailed them, they responded like, oh, we finally have a manufacturer. We'll get your sway bars going. And so I was like, oh, perfect. Like that worked out. I was about to, like, I was asking for my money back. I sent them an email for my money back after a year. It was probably a little more patience than most. When I received the sway bars, two things I want to address. One is an abomination. An absolute abomination. I am so disappointed with this. I am satisfied now that I've corrected it, but the two holes for the end links, there was the most disastrous, chronically, I don't even have the words for the burrs that I found in the holes for the end links, and obviously that is just going to eat up the rubber. It was an amplified issue to what Apex was having going on with the dust boots. So, dude, you would have paid money to see the crash out I had, because I brought the sway bars up here to install them, and that's when I found the burrs. Like, I didn't look at them before. I thought they were good to go. And so I came up here an hour, and I sat here for 10 minutes just questioning my life, and I had to go an hour home.
Why don't you have a deburr tool up here?
I didn't at the time. I do now. I'll tell you for free, I do now. Never making that mistake again. But holy fuck! That was an issue. Wait a year, bring them up. Which, it's not their fault that the shop's an hour away, but it was just made the issue so much worse. Then, the final thing I want to address after going through that hell, that absolute fucking shit pile ass fucking cock in my fucking, this isn't good for YouTube. Right here, the actual mounting bushings, these are not what they provided for the front. They provided a similar style mount for the rear, and I was like, they want you to reuse your original front mounts, like the bracket, and then they send you a aftermarket bracket like this one for the rear. And so I was like, that's weird. Why wouldn't you just have, reuse both brackets, both original brackets, and then just send me the bushings? Otherwise, just send me entire bushing and bracket combos. Like, why am I doing one a piece? So I have a photo. I don't know if it's good enough, but I took the rear bracket. I was like, why are they doing this? And I brought the rear bracket to the front, and it bolted up just fine. It's like the metric card. Like, why? This is an Apex. This isn't even an Apex part. But why not just send two of the same bracket with the bushing? Because they're usable on both the rear and the front. So that's what I did. I bought a new front bracket combo for the front and installed it. And it installed just fine. I have no idea. That's the end of my story for the Z sway bars. Whoever's ordering them in the future, I was extremely disappointed. Good luck. Now that we're here and they're installed, I'm very impressed with them. That's about it for the front, though. Moving on. I guess I'll cover the cross member first.
Besides the QC hole spacing and clearance issues, the only other thing I ran into on this is I had one of these studs break for this. This is like a GM universal transmission mount, and Apex sends you one when you order this. I tweaked out and bought a brand new one because I had no idea why that stud broke. I did not. I torqued these to the appropriate value through my year service manual. All of a sudden one day I just showed up here like to work on the rear subframe or something, and this bolt was just sitting on the ground. I was like, what the hell is going on with this? Be advised when mounting this, just give it a double check after you. I don't know why that happened to me, but I bring it up for the sake of the video. Moving on, we're on to the rear.
I'm going to timestamp this one for anybody that watches this video a ways down the line. I'm not sure what revisions they're going to make to this. I know they've already made one, though. Dude, there's something in my fucking mouth right now. I don't know what changes they're going to make in the future, but I do know one change they did. For the rear crossmember specifically, you can see the gross paint I had to do for dremeling out the holes. That's nasty. But they actually have a new system for these where it's serrated, and they have like I don't know, some kind of bracket where you get far more adjustability than just these holes here for the height of this control arm, which is pretty impressive. That was a genius idea. IMO. That's where we're at for the timeline of this video. Hopefully this video actually does some good and they make some appropriate changes moving forward. First, the rear was by far the worst offender in terms of the project as a whole in installing everything. One more note for the sway bar. On this power brace, for this bracket, there are washers sitting underneath the flanges of the sway bar mounting bracket. Oh, I got some cum on my finger. All right, go crazy mode. Dude, get off. In turn with notching this bracket out or doing something different, so you get this, there's a plate here that the main face or the bushing face sits on for this power brace bracket here, but then you have to slip a washer in between the edges of this mounting bracket flanges just to install it correctly. I would not like to do that going forward. That kind of sucked to install. If they could just have a thick spacer or something, or make it so you don't have to use washers when installing, that would be nicer. Obviously for savings, cost analysis, whatever, if they gotta do that, they gotta do that. It wasn't a big deal, but I thought I'd mention it. Okay. I know I'm gonna talk about first.
Okay, that's good.
Yep. It's very good. I hate my life. You see this right here? You see this? You see how it's black?
Is it the frame rail?
Yeah, it is the frame rail. You see how it's been painted?
Yeah.
Yeah. There used to be, insert the photo, for the rear brake, there was a bracket that hung down here that the hardline went into to mount to the flex line to go to the caliper. When I installed this, I was like, the control arm was sagging, and then I tried to bring it up, and I was just crashing into that bracket. And it has to be cut out to install. I don't know. This is an 88. I don't know on the early cars if they use that bracket or not. That was another frustrating moment for me because cutting that bracket out was essentially like opposite of the why I bought the kit in the first place. Like I bought it as a bolt-on reversible unit that was an upgrade for this car. Like I get the rear suspension adjustability that I wanted to and not sacrifice cutting up the car in any way. That's the whole selling point of this kit to me. That like kind of pushed me over the edge, cutting that bracket off. It's so minute, it can be replaced. It's not like a big deal at the end of the day, but if there was a way to design this control arm where you don't have to, I mean, maybe a tube that wraps around it, I have no idea. Something could be figured out to avoid that. It's probably too late now, but I was just running into that and cutting that off was very frustrating, and now I got to deal with it. So that's point one of the rear suspension kit. Point two, not a critique, more of a heads up for people that haven't done this before. This is a common thing. The washers here, this is a common thing for like aftermarket suspension. This is a 4-washer set. Obviously you have the 2 on the outside, but you also sneak one in on each side of the hind joint here. There goes my phone. Motherfucker. Don't look at the case, dude. Jesus Christ. Don't look at it. For those that haven't done this before, this is a very frustrating thing to go through if you haven't dealt with this. I recommend, if in case the spacing is a little tight, it might not be perfect. There's just spit that just... Take a bolt and then a nut and like you can pry it out, if that helps. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. For this side specifically, I had to take a bolt on the inside and then with a nut turn it and pry these flanges out just to have this installed
at this location. For the passenger side, I didn't have to do that. The spacing was good to go. So heads up for those buying the rear kit. If you have to deal with this, be prepared. Then another heads up, the differential mount. I didn't reuse the stock one. She's hiding back there. Okay. Heads up, there is a correct way to install it. Specifically the top face. It's not a perfect rectangle. There's a little semicircle part that sticks out. It's shown the correct way on the product page. I installed it backwards the first time around, so make sure you look at the product page and how it's oriented when installing it. Kind of like the front sway bars with the washers that they had on the bracket flanges. For the rear, this was done appropriately where it was just a completely flat surface. Bolting it up was very nice. But on the rear crossmember, that runs under the arm. Where the rear sway bar mounts, the cutout for the mounting was meant to use, or it looks like it was supposed to use this type of hardware for the bolts, but you can't, with how tight it is there, you cannot sneak this in. I believe you can get it on one side, but you can't get it on the other. I sat trying for like 20 minutes. I question my life again. I do it every single day when I look in the mirror. But this is their provided hardware, so obviously they're aware of this, that this type of bolt doesn't work. I don't know why they wouldn't put a genuine slot instead of like a laser cut square where you could, either way, minute thing. So moving on. If the power brace bracket and the tension rod arm was my biggest pet peeve for the front, this is about to be my biggest pet peeve for the rear. Not even cutting the brake line bracket was my biggest pet peeve for the rear. This is the facelift version of the car. What I'd like to see on the rear control arm is two different versions of the rear control arm. 87 to 89 owners don't have to source the early version stub axle setup in order to use the rear kit, because on their product page it says you will need to use 84 to 86 stub axles. Why I say this is because you don't specifically need 84 to 86 stub axles. The only thing different about the setup is the axle flange. The axle flange on the early cars is about a centimeter shorter than the 87 to 89 cars. They extended the axle flange. I believe I have a picture of them side by side, the longer one compared to the shorter axle flange. And it's much easier for Apex, you guys, to make a control arm that takes up that length for the 87 to 89 owners, because sourcing an 84 to 86, specifically the rear axle flange, because this is actually 84 to 86 rear axle flange, and I reused the 87 to 89 stub axle. The stub axles are exactly the same. I measured them out. There is no difference. So that going forward is huge. Now I actually wrote it down. We can throw in some photos of what's going on, but I'll go over this. For my car, the turbo stub axles are identical. The inner companion flange, the rear axle flange, is shorter on the early cars. The early cars had a 7mm spacer between the stub axle and the outer wheel bearing. The facelift cars had a 7mm wider outer wheel bearing to take up the space of that 7mm spacer. The inner rear wheel bearings are the same for both the early and the facelift cars. The seal is different, but dimensionally they're the same. So you can either use a early or late seal. Like the late seal is a lip style seal, where the early seal is just a regular shaft seal. Please, on everything, make two versions of the control arm. So owners who buy this kit as a bolt up, like I was talking about with cutting this brake bracket, I want to see it in a true bolt up kit. That's why people are gonna buy this thing to me. That's why I bought this thing. If I'm running into all these problems and I gotta source these parts and I gotta do this and that, why wouldn't I just buy a S13 rear subframe and just go that route? It's not what I want to do, but the more custom things you have to do and like parts you have to source, why wouldn't I just go the tried and true budget route? Because of the pricing of this kit as well, go with the rear subframe. So in the future, please do adequate research on sizing appropriately. I was very happy with the bearing tolerance sizing, installing the bearings. I did not use a spacer for the stub axle. Like I said, I used the stub axle I had. This is a 88 stub axle. I used the 88 outer wheel bearing and it fit perfectly. So no complaints there. I was pretty happy with that. But just moving forward, would love to see that. Would love to see that out, you guys. That about does it for
both the front and the rear kits, what I went through, my whole spiel with them, it was a lot of negative to go through. I wanted to make it an honest review. I wanted to be as transparent as possible for those that are actually buying this kit, what they're going to have to go through. At the end of the day, I'm very satisfied with the kit. I just don't want to have anybody buying this kit in the future go through what I had to go through. I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. It was a very big learning process for me. I've worked on a ton of stuff before. It's not like I'm brand new to this. I've taken engines out, removed transmission, all the above, whatever. The moral of the story is when you're dropping this much money on your products to run into these issues and see this stuff and not have things just bolt up right away and to go through all this work, I don't see like it's going to turn people away. I want to see you guys continue to improve, make revisions, make it as easy as possible for your customers buying these products in the future and whatever else you're going to make, because there's more stuff to make on the Z. Like this is the first iteration of this stuff. I know there's more products that could be done out in the future. I don't have a good example off the top of my head, but like the E36 stuff they're doing is crazy. I don't know if you've ever checked it out, but like you should, because it's cracked. Regardless, shout out Apex for this video. I'm still repping them. We're going all the way back to the beginning. I hit it a little bit, but I still wear your shirts out in public because I'm proud of you guys. Please continue to do what you guys are doing. Just you're changing the community. Like I would do what Elon did, but I'm not gonna do that for the sake of YouTube. My heart goes out to you. I want to do it so bad.
We're gonna get canceled.
Yeah, we're gonna get canceled. For those Z people out there, if you do have this kit, if you do buy any of their products, throw what you've ran through in the comments. I'd love to read about it, just for my own sake going forward. Just that maybe there's something I missed or somebody else went through that. Oh, maybe I should go back and look at that. But that was everything I went through personally. So thank you to our Z viewers for being patient. I do got to get this thing aligned, get it actually on wheels. Obviously, I don't have the front wheel bearings on, and brakes either. I'm doing the Z32 front brake upgrade, so that's no big deal to me. All the real pain is over, so this should be relatively quick stuff. And come this summer, have the car out and do a little final review on the kit. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a while to get through everything, but I'm sure I'll do. There's spit everywhere. I'm sure I'll do some kind of like intermediate video of just checking in once the car's.
What? What?
Dude, did you see that?
Are you spitting?
No, what is that? That fell off my hand, dude.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right. Okay.
Okay, we're done here. We're going home.
Okay.